kids kind of ran wild. And that house got raided. So they moved the meth lab 2 houses over, and then that guy didn't know what he was doing, so he blew up his garage. So then they moved it to our house. And like 30 people moved into our house. So there was all these people living in the house, lots of drama. And me and my brothers weren't going to school. And then that all came to an end, and everyone in our house got picked up and went to prison, including my mom. And I had just started 8th grade that year. And so me and my brothers, I had 3 other brothers. I was 13. They were 11 and 5 months old. And we all had different dads, so we all had different families. And they all got to go live with their families on their sides. Everyone went somewhere different. But we didn't know where my dad was or who his family was, so I went to foster care. And so long story short, Mom never completed rehab, always in prison, always homeless, and so the family never got back together. It just didn't happen. The only brother, the 5-month-old, we reunited when he was 20, and we've been getting to know each other the last few years. So never happened. The reunification never happened. So my foster home journey was not a good one. There was no abuse, but I was clearly in homes that collected kids to collect checks. So they would have bunk beds of boys and bunk beds of girls, and you had to stay in your room or watch TV, and that's how they made their money. And the money never got to us, that's for sure. Not exaggerating, they would have steak, we would have top ramen, you do the chores, you go to bed. And that was 5 years of my life. I ran away from that home, went to a boys' home, just a huge facility full of boys. They were all young gang members out of juvenile hall who had served time for something and couldn't go home for whatever reason, so they were in the boys' home, and that's where I was for a while, so I ran away from there. Then I went to another foster home, another check collector. She got alimony, she got unemployment, she also got a check for me. And she moved to Oregon and passed me off to her sister because the check that came along with me paid the rent while she went to culinary school. And so I rode out my senior year with that lady, and we both were counting down till I was 18, because then I'm out. I aged out. Turned 18 and hit the bricks and started walking. And was not ready for that because she had not invested in me. I mean, she got $800 a month for how many years? All these people did, and I was in there 5 years, so doing the math, $40,000, $50,000 was not invested in me. I didn't have a job, I didn't have a car, I didn't have a bank account, I didn't have a place to go. I had some clothes in a duffel bag, and that was, I graduated the day I turned 18, so I had graduation on Friday and started walking on Saturday. Just go figure it out. Now my story is much bigger than that. It includes God, it includes salvation, it includes joining a punk band and getting in a van and then making my way for the next 15 years. Playing shows and albums, and it was a crazy journey. But in that struggle, I was also dealing with, they say, a child who enters foster care, they wake up in their bedroom that morning, and that night they go to sleep in a strange home, and they have now experienced 6 times the PTSD of a soldier returning from war. And that stays with you. So I was 18, I was out there, I was trying to make my way, but I had PTSD, and I was struggling, and I wasn't prepared, and I slept on couches, and I slept in a car, and I lived above a bar, and this journey was very long, 18 to about 30, and then I found myself working my way up to about 30 years old, and I have a great job, and I make great money, and I got married, my wife's back there, and we have a big house that we're renovating up in the mountains, and I said, God, this journey was tough. This journey was long. Foster care sucked, and the 12 years after that was worse. And I never want to talk about foster care again. I don't want to remember it. I don't want to answer my wife's questions about foster care. And, I was always, why me? And then I heard some statistics. I was watching TV, and this came up. And I'm going to throw some numbers at you, but there are currently 500,000 kids in foster care across America. 500,000. About half live with family, but about half go to a stranger's home. Half are boys, half are girls. Most are reunited with their family. but 9% will stay in foster care, never reunited until they age out at 18. And that's about 37,000 kids a year. Out of those 37,000 kids, half will end up unemployed and in prison within the first 2 years. 70% of the girls will be pregnant. And 70% of California state prisoners were once in the foster care system. So staying in the system becomes your life. Not knowing what to do or where to go becomes your life because you weren't prepared for aging out and for building an adult life. So I said, as much as I don't want to think about this or talk about this, we have to go back. I thought my life was hard, but I did not know that succeeding was a miracle. And we have to go back. And being in those bands and making those albums, I said, I'm going to make another album. And I don't know what step 2 is, but step 3 is we're going to help foster kids somehow. And so all the last few years, we've been invited to schools and churches and events like this. And we've got to meet with junior high kids and high school kids and build resources and raise funds. And we want to get a hold of them and mentor them through foster care and the transition out of foster care. And say, look, we got your basics: food, clothing, shelter, how to get a job, how to get into college, how to balance a checkbook, how to do your taxes. We'll teach you to drive. We'll take you to get your driver's license. And you have none of this when you age out unprepared. So that's why we're here. That's why we're back. And I want to just say, it's a good thing to be a foster parent, but it is a great thing to be a good foster parent. And please invest in these kids. Don't do it for the money. Do it for the child and invest in them. I know everyone's covered the list of reasons not to do it, but you need someone to invest in you, to put time into you, so that they're not figuring life out at 30, if at all. Let them be ready by 18. When they turn 18, let them not be thinking about aging out. Let them just think about graduation and the summer. Let them stay, help them get that first job and be ready for their freshman year of college. Just don't treat them like a product. My goal is, we started Foundation Foundation.